All right, everyone. In the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, the left is currently on a Spurg fest. They realize that they're not having a good time. They are being backed down and spanked at the moment. And there are three major reasons why their response has been so shitty. And, well, I mean, other than the fact that leftists, many of them, especially the younger ones, they think mouthing off on the internet is some sort of revolution, so they do it frequently and typically put their foots in their mouths. When you don't know anything about history, and you can't know anything about history if you're a leftist anyway, then it makes it a little bit more difficult to debate modern geopolitics and things of that nature. But there are three main reasons, and there are more, but I just wanted to go through three. Number one, Tyler Robinson used an old-style Mauser, a bolt-action rifle. So the normal anti-gun liberals can't really bring up gun control and say, well, guns bad. Because to do so would be to admit, no, we don't just want to go after those super scary military-looking modern, semi-fully auto rifles with 10,000 baby-killing rounds a second. They can't cast it off as that. They would have to acknowledge that they also want more gun control with regards to manually operated rifles and things like that, which would be like every hunting rifle, in other words. Yeah, yeah, the FUD guns and stuff like that. I mean, I know that this isn't a FUD gun, but you get my point, my meaning. Uh, so how can they really tackle that issue? So the anti-gun left pretty much has been silent for the most part. There are some people, basically the only resort they have on that angle is saying, well, Charlie Kirk once had a quote where he said that he opposed gun control even if people got shot. You know what? If we could revive him for 10 minutes and ask him, have you changed your mind? I doubt that his answer would be yes. I think he'd say, no, no, sorry I'm dead, but, I wish I were alive, but ultimately guns are a net positive in civilian hands because they kill more perps than they do innocent people, and they allow us to be more safe in case of invasion or tyranny or something like that. I don't think he would have changed his mind at all. So that's their first problem. So they can't really attack, at least effectively, on the anti-gun issue, and that's typically where the left wing of politics sides, which is secretly a lot of these people want every civilian gun confiscated and would like to jail anyone who tried to have one and would like only for the police and the military to have firearms. And the private guards, of course, that guard the rich bitch politicians pushing such issues. Secondly, cancel culture. Turns out it's a double-edged sword. Who was it who made a video about, well, I think 9 years ago or something at this point, warning that the cancel culture thing would eventually kick them in the ass because they were promoting something that would eventually be used against them. Oh, that's right, it was me. And I wasn't the only one. I'm not claiming that, but we warned you. It was just like when you removed the congressional filibuster for judicial appointments of various kinds. You remove that, and then Trump gets three Supreme Court justices. He might get a fourth in this term, by the way. Um, we warned you. We told you it was a bad idea. See, I think we need more constraints on government, more rights for everyone, less taxes, less government power, more arms in more hands, more militia, more self-preservation and survivalism and survival skills and things like that. That's the society that I want to live in. Um, Cancel culture is therefore something that I do not support. But in this particular instance, what we're dealing with are people who have supported cancel culture, so these are hypocrites, who are not just in some cases celebrating. So if somebody wants to say, ha ha, the witch is dead, it doesn't offend me. I've been on the internet long enough. I don't really care about that. I'll roll my eyes and then I'll look at something more entertaining than your sputum. But if you are advocating violence, and many of these people actually are, yeah, no shit. Acme Incorporated doesn't want to keep the HR spokeswoman aboard when she said, haha, I'm glad Charlie Kirk is dead. I wish that there were 10 more Charlie Kirk incidences tomorrow. You're probably going to lose your job. You're a retard. By the way, people have gotten so used to posting everything public, every little thought that they have, that they can't even turn off their phone to go for a hike, let alone anything else. So I mean, they're tying their own noose at some point, really, aren't they? Yeah, haha, this will be funny. Post a picture of this dude with blood shooting out of his neck with a laugh track behind it. Ha ha ha. And then, people figure out where you're working and they say, "Hmm, are you comfortable with this sort of reaction?" The right is out-lefting the left on this one. I mean, this is a considerable countercharge against some of this shit. Now, a lot of these people don't have jobs anyway, so in some of these cases, it might not really have much of an effect. When you're effectively an itinerant living in a cot in an Antifa motel, you probably don't have a job. Most of these people have never worked a day in their lives anyway. I like how they complain about the workers getting driven down by drudgery. Well, you've probably never done anything. You know, you probably have never had a real job, as they call it. I don't like that term because it's retarded, but you haven't even had an unreal job. I mean, posting on Reddit is not actually a form of employment usually. And also, third, even the left-leaners are becoming mad. They're looking at, and this is why I advised people who are outside of the left, don't raise up and make threatening comments. Optically poor. Is it funny? Maybe. Is it you're telling them to back down? Okay, I get it. You got a big dick. But it's not going to cause anything positive for trying to defeat the cancer that is far leftism, communism, effectively. Why don't we just call them commies? Don't even use the term leftist anymore. We know what they are. We know what their intellectuals so-called are trying to bring to the United States. It's been made clear. I wrote a book called Critical Race Theory Debunked that goes into at least the racial aspect of this. That is part of it. But I am noticing there's a disproportionately negative response towards this bullshit from the center left as opposed to other incidents. I'm noticing that they're much more critical of people who are really out there. I mean, they're disavowing some of them. Well, no, leftists aren't really celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I would never do that. In private, some of these people were like, yes, yes, yes. I'm sure that they were, Stephen King among them probably. But publicly, they're disavowing their little left-wing, far left-wing commie friends. And they're doing that because it's so optically poor. And in some cases, it's because they're genuinely becoming angry at them. Democratic partisans would be angry because they're like, what are you doing? To lose us the midterms, you idiot. So the pragmatists aren't necessarily friendly towards them right now, if they have any sanity at all. And I mean, at least they're pragmatic. So that means that, they're probably intelligent enough to understand how to brew coffee. Let's put it that way. And then you have people who lean left on issues. It'd be like maybe a Marr type, or less left wing than Marr probably, but you get what I mean. Someone who's center left, a moderate Democrat, is a Manchin type or something like that, and they're disavowing them for ideological reasons, saying, "Look, we can't stoop down to the shooting people thing. That's not what we want to do. It's not how you win elections. It's not how you are ethical." And it's not really helpful to anyone, including yourself, when you end up in a prison cell for 30 years. So, you may want to cut it out. That's basically the response. So those are just the top three reasons. I mean, we could rattle off a laundry list of other ways in which the left right now is failing and flailing. Like they're still trying to cast it off as though Tyler Robinson was a MAGA supporter. Yes, clearly every MAGA supporter has their bullet casings etched with Antifa songs and things like that. That makes sense, dude. I think that this was a left-wing nut. Disavowed his family effectively, and they were apparently staunch conservative Republicans. I think he went through that phase where he wanted to do the youthful rebellion thing, and then he decided to fixate on the dude that was going to be nearby. And I don't think that Charlie Kirk even would have been the only person he would have blown away, given the opportunity. I think he probably would have killed other commentators too if had they been there and he could identify them and still think he could maybe get away. Probably would have taken more than one shot. That's about all. Peace out.